All right, so we've broken out these components for listing the courses into separate component, right? And we still can navigate just like we had before, right? That's still the same. Everything works just the same. What we'd like to be able to do is replace this navigation with a new technique, right? So let me demonstrate that technique. So the technique, let's implement a really simple example here. Let's create two pages, right? Two components, really simple components. So page one component, and page one component loads React, and then has a function called page one that just renders h1 page one, right? And let's see if we can navigate between two really simple components. Export default page one, yes. And I'm going to copy this component, and I'm going to call it page two. There it is. So the only difference is that they have different content, page two and page two. Right. If I load them in my manager, if I load them right here, I can load them by just saying page one, there it is, and page two. They both render. There they are, page one and page two. Make sense? Right? Notice that I can still navigate between the two. They are completely oblivious, right, to the navigation. So what I'd like to be able to do is encode somehow in the URL that I am either displaying page one or I'm displaying page two. Right? That they're somehow mutually exclusive, and then they're tied to some URL. So for instance, if I type here page one, I would like to see only page one. Or if I say page two, I would only want to see page two. Right? And I should be able to also navigate back and forth using the back button. Okay, so let's do that. So the way we're going to do that is that we're going to load this new library called the browser router. Right? So from React router DOM, we just installed. So and browser router is going to give us a context of the navigation. Right? It's going to say everything that is inside of this router, right, is going to allow you to create links, right? It's allow you to load content, based on what the URL says. Also, there's a little bit of history here. The React router DOM originally was only implemented for browser routing, navigating in the browser. It has since morphed into being able to implement routing also for desktop applications, for phones, tablets, other things other than just browsers. Right? To that extent, they renamed their router to be called browser router, so that they can distinguish, what mechanism are you using for routing. Yes, right? Because the keyword router was so common when this library came out and became so popular. You'll see a lot in the documentations and the examples in Stack Overflow. You'll see that they refer to router everywhere as opposed to browser router. Yes. So to stick to that naming convention, I'm going to rename it locally as router. Right? I'm locally going to name it just router, and I'm going to refer to this browser router as just plain old just router. Make sense? Yes?
Why does it have to be imported within this?
Oh, because the library exports tons of things, just like we export a whole bunch of functions. So you have to destruct it. So it's not the default. Right? Only if it were default, then you don't need the curly brackets. Okay. So now, once we have the router, we can decide that, hey, we want to create navigation between these two. Right? We want to navigate between these two. Forget about all the other stuff, right? We want to be able to declare links and hyperlinks and navigate to show one component or the other component based on what the URL says. Okay? So let's take a look at doing that next.